Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Guilds of Ravnica Draft here on the channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, welcome. And before I begin, I would like to remind you that if you enjoy the video, be sure to click that thumbs up and subscribe to get updates for whenever I post new content. Clicking the thumbs up button really helps me out a ton, and subscribing is obviously helpful as well. Without further ado, let's get into the pack. We're going to be using my 5-pick method, where for the first 5 picks, I just take the objectively best card in the pack. However, there's a new caveat to that. I think Boros isn't great. I think you can play it, but it's really one of the more inconsistent guilds, so I'm going to be favoring Boros cards a little bit less than normal to see how that works out. Duke, while I've been thinking Guilds of Ravnica Draft is fine. It's not like my favorite format ever. Thief of Sanity is a great rare. It just kind of takes over the game if it's not dealt with. It basically draws you a card every time it hits them, and it's got evasion on a 3-drop, so it's really strong. I think it's much better than Disinformation Campaign. Deadly Visit is probably the second best card in this pack, just because it's a great removal spell, and then probably Disinformation Campaign. But Thief of Sanity is a bomb, so pretty happy to see that here. Also, I'm going to be trying something a little bit different with this video. I'm going to be actually recording the draft, and then every single match separately, and then I'm posting them like one at a time each day. It'll make it a little bit shorter of a video, so you can like watch it each day and kind of like go through it, and I'll like obviously show the deck before each match. So I'm going to try that out. Let me know in the comment section down below of this video what you think of that kind of strategy, because I like to try new things. Vivid Revival is a pretty interesting card, because if you can get multicolored cards, it's like a 5-mana draw 3, and it's like better than a draw 3 because it's draw 3 spells. Hey, not me, how's it going? Format's pretty fine, but like I don't like the guilds really. It makes drafts way more constrictive. So Vivid Revival is interesting. I think it's worse than Status Statue, because this is just a really flexible card that can often like get you a 2-for-1 or kill a problematic permanent. Vivid Revival is less guaranteed to be like a great, like it's less guaranteed to be great. So I'm gonna just take Status Statue. I think it's just the best card in the pack. Easily to splash too. So if I ended up like playing Golgari, I could splash Thief of Sanity, or if I was playing Dimir, I could splash Status Statue. Here, looking at this pack, Rock Charger is pretty good, but again, as I said, I am going to try and value the Boros cards a little bit lower than I normally would, just because I think Boros is pretty weak. And the reason I think Boros is weak is after several times drafting Boros, everyone you play against has board clears. That sucks. I think Boros is a little bit weaker because it really relies on having a great opening hand, and like the other decks are much more equipped to deal with like slower games, whereas Boros, if you play like don't curve out perfectly, you're going to lose a lot of the time. And it's gotten to the point where if I'm playing Dimir and I get matched up against Boros, which should be like one of Boros' best matchups, I'm actually happy as the Dimir player. Here I think I'm picking between Discovery Dispersal, Rock Charger, and then Luminous Bonds and Command Storm. I'm going to take the Discovery Dispersal. It just really sets up your draws quite well, and I do want to try and play like some combination of the Sultai colors, and I kind of want to avoid Boros where Rock Charger is at its best. So we're just going to take the Discovery Dispersal. I think it's quite a nice card. And here, I think I'm going to take the Gatekeeper Gargoyle. I think I've been valuing this card a little bit lower. I think you can get the gates if you really want them, and it's just a solid win condition for especially a deck that's looking to splash. Golgari Guildgate's also nice, but I'm just going to take the Gargoyle. I think it's just a really nice card. Bounty Agent's not really great. It's just 2-mana 2/2s are not at their best in this format, and that's one of the reasons why Boros is not great, I think. Like Hammer Dropper is not great, and that's one of Boros' commons. Much worse than Rebel Pelt Boar. I don't love Pitiless Gorgon. It is often going to trade with a 2-drop or something like that, but I think Gatekeeper Gargoyle is a solid win condition. Okie doke. Here, Drowned Secrets, first of all, is not playable. You're never going to mill your opponent out, and milling yourself to get like Jumpstart cards in the graveyard, you're still down cards when you do that, because Jumpstart makes you discard. I could still be Dimir Splash Green or Golgari Splash Blue. However, either way, I am going to try and splash this card or this card. At least the second half. One of the best parts about Status Statue is you can cast the first half regardless, so I really like splashing it off just a couple of like Guild Gates. I think I'm just going to take the Guild Gate here. There's nothing exceptional in any of the colors. I think Vidalcan Mesmerist is my like next pick out of this pack, so I'll just take the opportunity to get the Guild Gate, and it's also much better with Gatekeeper Gargoyle. Because yeah, the Gatekeeper Gargoyle is obviously good with gates. Here, Circuitous Route is interesting. It's really nice. I agree, not me, with the gate. Circuitous Route is interesting because if you go for like a 5-color type build, it's really kind of nice to have Circuitous Route because it helps get all of your colors. That being said, I don't think 5-color is the best deck. I think it's like a fine deck, but nothing special. And like I've played it a couple times. You like Gatekeeper Gargoyle is one of the key cards. You also want to have like other payoffs like the Glaive. So I think I'm just going to take the Dimir Guildgate here and try to play Sultai. 2 Lidev champions in a row is pretty strong. There isn't really a great payoff. Like casting Gatekeeper Gargoyle as a 6/6 on turn 5 is pretty nice, but yeah, it's not insane. I'm gonna it's insane when that works out, but there's not like a ton of payoffs. I'm gonna take the Disdainful Stroke here. I do like having access to one of them in my Dimir decks. Looks like I'm gonna be able to play a more controlling like deck. 2 Lidev champions is kind of annoying to miss out on, but I think that my deck's gonna end up pretty solid here. And I'll just take a Mesmerist. I don't love Undercity Uprising. Prey Upon's also a card I could consider. I just want to make sure I'm getting a playable out of this pack. I don't really want to take these early. Like, I'm not trying to play Boros. I'm trying to avoid Boros. Prey Upon. I mean, obviously, if I end up losing my matches, everyone's going to be like, why didn't you play Boros? But if I win my matches, it'll be like, oh, you're a revolutionary. But I've just been really unimpressed with Boros. I think Mesmerist is solid. Since I don't know whether I'm playing Golgari or Dimir. I think I'd rather play Dimir here. It looks a little bit more open. I don't think Enhanced Surveillance is worth it. You're not going to have enough Surveil for it to be paid off for sinking a card into this. So I'm just going to take the Guildgate here. I don't like playing more than 1 Disdainful Stroke. So I just like getting the gate here. My mana is really set up here, which is great. Especially with this Gargoyle. Just have Convoke. Exactly, not me. Exactly. You don't need to run a ramp spell when your creatures are naturally ramp. I think Thief of Sanity is going to make me want to play Dimir splashing green. So I'm just going to take the Dowser of Lights as a win condition. 2 mana, stop yourself from decking. Now I'll take Mephitic Vapors. I actually am going to main deck it. I think it's a main deckable card. And a Golgari Gate. I like having the gate. And I'll take Take Heart. Take Heart is just like solid. Like I just don't want to play against it. I think one of the things with Boros is it just wants to have like all of the combat tricks you can possibly get pretty much. So a decent pack 1. We have 8 playables after pack 1. We have 4 gates though, so our mana is going to be pretty good in this Sultai looking deck. I'd like to get more early plays, some Pass Wall Adepts, and then, yeah, I mean, the deck's just looking solid. Is Risk Factor worth anything? It's been a while since I've money drafted on the channel. It's worth 3 ticks. Nice. If there's nothing for us, we'll just snap it up. And it looks like there is nothing for us, because we're not playing red, so Lava Coil is useless. We're not splashing red, so this is useless. And Muse Drake is horrific. Wishcoin Crab's going to wheel, so yeah, we'll just take the Risk Factor for the value, as they say. And since I have time, I'll explain why all the cards I said were bad are bad. Muse Drake is bad because it's a 4-drop. It just doesn't block anything, and it doesn't even attack very far. It doesn't attack for much, so it just is overall just a 4-drop you don't want. You can side it in against Dimir decks because the 2-for-1 is actually kind of relevant against them, and you can get in with chip damage because they can't necessarily answer it. But overall, it just doesn't block very well, and it's basically like spending 4 mana just to draw a card and not impact the board really significantly. I actually prefer Wishcoin Crab because it actually blocks a ton of stuff. Like it blocks Dowser of Lights, which is a pretty relevant finisher. It blocks some of the creatures from Selesnya. But yeah, we're just going to take the Risk Factor there. Ooh, this is a stacked pack. Artful Takedown is great, Watcher in the Mist is great, and Capture Sphere is great. I think I would rather have Artful Takedown than Capture Sphere, but I'm not even sure whether that's correct. I think the tapping ability is pretty nice, but Watcher in the Mist is legit. Easy Artful? I don't think it's that easy, because Artful can't kill all of the creatures in the format, whereas Capture Sphere can, because almost no creature has an activated ability. Capture Sphere can be beaten by Bounce a little bit to some degree. And then Watcher in the Mist just wins you a ton of games. I actually think Watcher in the Mist is the pick. It's just so good. Like, this is a removal spell, this is a removal spell, and then Watcher in the Mist just wins you the game. Oh my gosh. Having cast many Watchers in the Mist, I think Watcher in the Mist is just broken, pretty much. So yeah, I'm going to take Watcher in the Mist. Rampaging Monument, I have 1 gold card, 2 gold cards, 3 gold cards. Thoughtbound Phantasm, I have 1 Surveil, 2 Surveil, 3 Surveil. I'm not taking another Disdainful Stroke. I could take a Mesmerist and go for the more, like, aggressive-ish Dimir build, but I do have all these tab lands, so I don't really like doing that. I could take a Spinal Centipede. I don't know if I want the Thoughtbound Phantasm in this deck. I think the Mesmerist will wheel, and so I'll get the Centipede. I like the Centipede. It's just a solid blocker that makes your flyers a little bit better. It's a great, pretty good attacker too. Rampaging Monument is like medium in a lot of decks. So this is the type of payoff you need if you're going to go 5 color. You need like Glaive of the Guild Pact. I'm just going to take Burglar Rat here. It's just a fine 2-drop, gets you some card advantage. It is only a 1/1, but it's solid. It's a solid playable. I don't like Bartisan Bats, and yeah, that's pretty much was the only other black card in the pack. Mephitic Vapor is number 2. Not really a huge fan of Mephitic Vapors. It might not even be good in this deck because I do have a couple cards that die to it. I'm going to take Never Happen. Never Happens is going to wheel. Never Happens like a card that I like in the sideboard for Dimir Mirrors. Maybe I take Crushing Canopy for the sideboard. I don't really want to play Mephitic Vapors number 2. I'm just going to take Never Happen for the board. This pack's much better. Notion Rain is a solid card in Dimir. It's just nice card advantage. And overall, it's just a good effect to have. It's just raw card advantage. You can play all your cards out, and then you play a Notion Rain and refill while your opponent doesn't have access to a card like that if they're playing a different color combination. So we're going to be playing, taking Notion Rain here. Unexplained Disappearance is a card that hasn't impressed me. It looks like it would be good, but I don't think it is actually very good in practice. I think it's just medium. Passwall Adept is a card that has impressed me, though. I love Passwall Adept. If you watched any of my videos, I'm always raving about how much I love Passwall Adept. Rhizome Lurcher is a card that I would consider if I had more creatures as a finisher, because I'm already splashing green. But the green splash doesn't need to be big. It can just be, like, play these 2 Guild Gates and then have a chance to cast Statue. Like, that's all the splash needs to be. But I'm just going to take the Passwall Adept easily here. I love Passwall Adept. And now I'll take a Pitiless Gorgon. It's the only card I can cast in this pack. It's also just a nice blocker. Wishcoin Crab did wheel, as I suspected. I'm not going to play Silent Dart. I don't like Silent Dart at all. But Wishcoin Crab is a card that I'm happy to play. And now I can take Child of Night for the sideboard. I don't think it's a main deckable card because it doesn't really attack very well, but against decks that are looking to gain life and close the game, it can do good work. I think this deck is looking pretty solid. Thoughtbound Phantasm came back. That's nice. I'll just play it as an early blocker. I don't want to play a second Disdainful Stroke. I'll take the only... I'll just hate draft a Candlelight. And the Mephitic Vapors came back. Intrusive Pack Beast has been going very late. I don't know if it's a bad card. I thought it was really good. I was really high on it when the set first came out. Wow, another Muse Drake or a third Mephitic Vapors. Oh, I didn't get the second. Oh, yeah. I'll take the first Muse Drake. I can side it in for the Dimir matchup. I already have 2 Mephitic Vapors. I don't think I'm going to need a third one. Ooh. Blood Operative is quite good in my opinion. There's some decks that just basically can't beat a Blood Operative. You play this down, and then you have a couple of Surveillors, and then you just constantly get it back. There's a new cheating drama on Reddit about MTG. I didn't see that. I'm not on Reddit, so... yeah. I think it's easy Blood Operative, and then after that, I think I would take the Centipede and then the Poisoner. So that's a little bit close. or necrotic wound. But easy blood operative for me here. Blood operative is just great. Now it's a little bit closer. I could take a second Notion Rain. I actually wouldn't mind having a second Notion Rain in this deck. I don't have a great late game overall, and I have some pretty good defensive options like the Wishcoin Crab, and I can probably get a second Wishcoin Crab. I don't really like Unexplained Disappearance. I would definitely take the Notion Rain over it. Oh, that sucks, not me. That he was cheating, not that he got caught. I mean, Necrotic Wound, not really my favorite when I don't have... Like, I think Necrotic Wound is much better in decks that actively care about getting creatures into the graveyard. Like Golgari with Undergrowth. Like, Undergrowth is more of a build-around type deal. And it's sometimes hard for Dimir to get creatures into the graveyard because you have, like, Wishcoin Crab and Passable Adepts just holding the ground. So I'm actually going to take the second Notion Rain here, give me a pretty good late game. And now I'm going to take a Crowl Swarm. That's a nice win con once you've stabilized the ground. So now after taking this Crowl Swarm, I kind of have late game locked up, and I can just focus on getting like hired poisoners and things of that nature. That being said, I'm not going to dip to the level of Barrier of Bones. I shall not descend into the depths. I don't need another win con though. I don't need a Lotleth Giant. I'm just going to take the Dimir Guild. Maybe I want the Gateway Plaza. Gateway Plaza is a bit slow, especially with 4 other tap lands. Yeah, I'm just going to take the Dimir Guild Gate. I don't like Pilfering Imp. It just doesn't block very well and is really slow and clunky. I'm just going to take another Mesmerist. Golgari Guildgate is actually a nice pickup here. I'm actually not going to play all 6 Guildgates. Oh my gosh, that's horrible, not me. That's horrible. I actually don't... I'm not going to play 6 Guildgates. I think I'm going to play 4 Guildgates, or 5 probably 5 Guildgates. But having another Golgari one's really nice because now I don't have to run basics Forest. And I can just run the statue and potentially play it off of the splash. Ocarina Assassin is a card that I kind of underrated. It's basically a walking removal spell. Like, it sits on the battlefield and they can't like play a good creature or they'll have to block with it. Is it worth splashing, though? No, I don't think it is. I'll just take the Guildgate. And a Spinal Centipede came back. I love Spinal Centipede. I'm not going to play more than one Disdainful Stroke ever, but I like Spinal Centipede. It's just a nice card. Good effect. It's relevant at almost all times. Hired Poisoner came back. That's nice to see. Severed Strands, maybe. Tapland Tribal. I'm not going to play all of the tap lands. This is an early play. I'll take Severed Strands. I could need it in some matchups. Devious Cover Up is a fine sideboard card as well. I like it. I like the way this deck is looking. We are like 1 playable short, but that's not a huge deal. Rhizome Lurcher. Liking the look of it, actually. It could be pretty big in this deck. Probably better than Lotleth Giant. And I'll take the Veiled Shade for the board. I think I'll actually maybe dedicate a bit more to the splash now that I have all these tap lands. I could play a Rhizome Lurcher. Another Mephitic Vapors. Maybe I value Mephitic Vapors. You would have liked Crushing Canopy in this sideboard? I don't know if I'm that weak to flyers, but maybe I could have picked one up. Okay. Group creatures separately. So I've got these couple 1-drops. Some Mesmerists. Centipedes. I don't really have enough Surveil to support Thoughtbound Phantasm as an attacker, but it's still just a solid blocker. I'm not sure if I want Mephitic Vapors in the main deck. I think I'll just keep it in the sideboard and bring it in when it's good. I definitely don't want all of these gates. You've been watching a lot of Sealed. Yeah, that would tend to do it. Because Sealed, there's a lot of, like you lose games to flyers and stuff. Maybe I want Severed Strands. Yeah, I think I want Severed Strands. I didn't actually pick up a removal spell because I was prioritizing... I took the Watcher and the Mist over the only removal spells I saw. I have this one, but that's not the greatest one. So I'm going to have to play the Severed Strands just so I have access to a kill spell. But it's not the end of the world. If I play 5 Guild Gates, that'll give me 4 sources for this, 4 sources for that, and 5 Guild Gates for this guy, which should make him like a 5/5 a lot of the time. And I need to make 1 cut now. That's probably my worst card. Yeah, I'll just side that in for slower matchups. So I don't need to run any forests. So I can just run a 6/6 split. Actually, I can run 1 less swamp and 1 more island. That'll give me 8 blue sources because I forgot that all of my tap lands make black mana anyway. But I do have more black in the deck, so like I want to have more black sources. But now I have 9 black sources, 8 blue sources, 4 green sources. Not playing all of your guild gates is definitely a next level strategy. Oh, right. Yeah, that's going to do it for this the draft portion of this video. If you want to see the next part of the video, I'm going to be posting that part tomorrow onto the YouTube channel. But if you watch me stream live, you can obviously see it all at once. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this new format, be sure to let me know in the comments. If you don't like this new format, also let me know in the comments. I'm just trying new things. But maybe, because I think maybe having a shorter video will make people want to watch it all the way through. But anyway, that's going to do it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you next time. Oh, yeah, remember to thumbs up and subscribe and comment on all that type of thing, too.